is a 10-year-old. He's been in 4-H for quite a few years now, probably since about kindergarten. He has fetal alcohol syndrome, and he's also adopted. And for him, his disability kind of plays out more in the social and like coordination realm. But he's very, very, very bright and inquisitive. So
this 4-H'er has been involved in our program for a long time as a 4-H club member and also in attending some of our adventure programs. He has done a lot of different things, and when he first started doing programming with us, he was very unengaged with the content. He was what you might consider a troublemaker. It was kind of distracting to the rest of the group, and just wasn't actually participating and doing the activities that we were doing. He was just kind of there.
I think one of the areas that we've struggled is especially kind of out in rural areas, the sports there are sports out there for activities, but then for people that don't enjoy that, especially like contact sports, and they have like some sensory issues and just need things to be kind of adapted for them a little bit. They struggle because they sometimes look very normal, but their disabilities aren't on their outside. It's more cognitive or neurological, and it's more difficult for other people to understand.
And following making these changes, met with the parent again a little bit to just talk about what we did and to gauge from her what reaction she gained from her son, whether that was different after attending the program or whether, you know, he was able to tell just as much information as he did the first time.
As I said, I like to try to get in a positive mood, so what I try to do is I try to like cheer myself up. Even if I'm happy already, you want to kind of be a little bit over happy, so maybe watch some like really funny videos or think really positive thoughts, just because if you start thinking negative, it's going to reflect in the way you look, the way you speak, and the way you act. So he always looks forward to going, and again, it's the people are positive and they're encouraging, and they don't push him into doing things that he's not able to or willing to do at that point. Sometimes he just needs a little bit extra time to sit and observe and kind of establish what expectations are or what's going to happen before he joins in. And the nice thing has been he's never felt pressured to do it on everybody else's time or at everyone else's pace. And that works well for him, because then if he feels like he's not going to get pushed, he feels supported, and he also there aren't other obstacles. He doesn't start to worry or get anxious or anything like that, which can be obstacles for him in other settings.
So in the day camp, we decided that we needed to have that one-on-one mentor, and that was somebody that was identified within our youth leader group, so they knew that this was the camp counselor or the mentor that would work specifically with the special needs kid. However, the rest of the participants in the program did not know that that's what was going on. And we had all kinds of activities going on, and we had other kids helping, so the other kids never even realized what was happening. But we knew behind the scenes that it took us a little bit of extra work to do that. And also there were some conversations with our youth leaders in regards to how do we serve kids that have special needs? Why does it matter? As well as, how does this help us as youth leaders or as program staff to be able to gain increased skills and to be able to work with others in the future that might have similar differences?
Yes, prior to making these extra efforts, kids would oftentimes just check out, and then they wouldn't really care. Like, they may be excited for the event originally, but then once you get into it, they're going to check out, and then they won't want to be there, and then they want to just have their parents come get them. But then once you make these special efforts for these kids, they're going to feel included, they want to join in, they want to do all these activities that you have planned. And then also, if they get bored with the activities, you have this one ambassador that can pull them off to the side. And then they're going to have this positive effect from this event, and then they most likely will go home and then tell their parents about it, and then their parents are going to spread these words that we've done these great activities with their child that has a special need to other parents, and then they're going to feel like we're doing a good job and we're including, so then in the end we might get new 4-Hers out of just one child.
he can pick and choose kind of, I mean, like the different projects, we usually have choices in terms of like, they'll do different days like that are kind of focused on different activities and things, and he can pick and choose what he participates in, or what he can, what he wants to learn more about. And they're not all sports based. I mean, he enjoys science a great deal, and that doesn't always fit in well with people who are very, athletics are everything based. So
well, kids with special needs have benefited many people within 4-H here in Meagher County, just because by having them being involved in camps, these other kids that don't have special abilities are going to have that involvement with these kids, and then they're going to know how to be able to interact with these kids when they grow up. And then also for us that are older, we get that kind of training so that way we know how to deal with these kids later on.
Through like an orientation process, I mean, like just doing some education on, kids have different learning styles and different learning abilities, and I mean, I think that as a society in general, we don't do enough education with people who work with youth, that they do have different abilities and that they do have, different life experiences, and they sometimes warm up to people or to subjects, or, process at a different rate. And if there was like a foundation for that understanding, I think it's a little bit easier to accept someone and to be encouraging of them if you have at least a basic understanding of what they're about and what their intentions are, that they're not being oppositional necessarily, it's just that they need to do things at a little bit different rate or in a little bit different way.
It was definitely worth it, just because if that one child did not have this ambassador that would take them off to the side to deal with them and do other activities, all these kids are gonna be like, whoa, we're moving on way too fast, or they're gonna get bored also. So by having this one ambassador and this extra effort with this one child, you were able to, in the end, make the event better for all of the youth involved, just because this one kid may be the deal breaker for if it's going to be a good event or a bad event.
Educating your youth leaders or educating your volunteers or whoever it is that's working with these kids to help them to understand why it's important to have them included, why it's important to make these accommodations, and the fact that these kids have value in our program, and that they're able to teach us as staff or volunteers or youth leaders some skills ourselves, and some different things that we might not experience if we weren't interacting with them. And that to know that even though it takes extra time, it is well worth the effort, and much appreciated by these families, because these kids with special needs oftentimes aren't always getting their needs met and aren't having the needed accommodations made for them. So they're very appreciative when we do take those extra efforts.